PonyFans.com is here with SMU quarterbacks coach Dan Morrison. And Coach, you've said that putting in the offense takes a few years as your players get acclimated to the system and the terminology and everything. Where is the offense now in terms of how much you've put in and how comfortable your players are and sort of developing within that system?
I think they're at that point where it's going to start to find it. The productivity on that field is going to start to change a little bit because they've been around each other quite a bit. They've been thrown to each other. They know each other. They can anticipate things so much better now, and they're bigger, stronger, older, and it's going to be interesting to watch them finally let this thing go this year.
How would you grade the progress as they've been learning it your first few years here? Are they ahead of schedule, or did they take a step back somewhere along the line, or are you pleased with the development that they're making as an offense?
Just in watching this offense develop, they're pretty much on schedule. You know, there's usually that first year where they're kind of running around and just throwing it up, and in the second year they go through a thinking process where they have to think their way through everything, and things slow down a little bit, and they make some errors and stuff, and then they kind of push through that, and then they get to the next level, which is a very highly productive level. But that's been kind of the norm at University of Hawaii, and here they're pretty much right on track with where they were in Hawaii.
Specifically, your quarterback Kyle, you know, obviously he got kicked in the deep end a little bit as a freshman, had to play right away, and did some things very well. Particular to him, how would you grade his development and his progress over his first year and a half as a starter?
I think he's right on schedule, and we had talked about that a little bit last year, that he was going to go through that same process of having to think his way through things, and yet you're not quite certain of some things, and he's kind of pushed through that. That's really normal. I've watched all the quarterbacks go through that process, and he's about ready to come out the other end now, and he's gotten bigger and stronger, and his anticipation is faster. He's got more velocity on his ball, but most importantly, he understands where everybody is, and he's done a really good job in the classroom as well as the field.
He got hurt last year against East Carolina when somebody rolled into his ankle, played the last few games through that injury. Then he played part of the bowl game with a broken finger on his non-throwing hand. He never seems to act like he's in pain. Is he almost too tough for his own good sometimes, fighting through injuries?
Well, I don't know if he's too tough for his own good, but he's definitely a tough kid. He was described that way to me by his high school coaches, that he's a very tough kid, and I think he kind of fights his way through it. That ankle bothered him for almost 6 months, after the East Carolina game, but he just wouldn't let it. He didn't talk about it. He didn't tell people about it. He just kind of just played through it. So that's just kind of who he is, and it's who he's always going to be.
You lost Aldrick Robinson from last year's offense, got drafted by the Redskins. A lot of speed, 14 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. What's the what's the hardest part to replace about not having 24 running down the side for you?
Mostly the knowledge, just the maturity and the experience. That's the thing. We tend to get pretty fast kids and pretty athletic kids in this offense here. It's just when they get to the point where Aldrick got and where Emmanuel got, where they truly do understand it, and they play faster. And so there's some young kids that are here now that are going to be really good. They'll go through that same process of learning it. Boy, when they get it, though, they're going to be really good. And these kids, we're getting them a little earlier than we got Aldrick. We're getting them right as true freshmen, so they're going to be very good very quick.
You got a veteran offensive line in front of Kyle and in front of Zach Line. 6 seniors competing for 5 spots. How good can this line be? How does it compare to some of the better lines you had at Hawaii before you got here?
Well, I think again, it's their off season has been remarkable. They are bigger, they're stronger. They're now at the point where when they line up, there aren't going to be too many people that are going to be physically bigger than they are. And I think, again, it's the same thing. They've been doing all this pass protection stuff and all this run stuff for 3 years, and they have a certain maturity about them. They understand it. And that maturity carries over not in just to the X's and O's and assignment aspect. It carries over into things that, you're behind with 2.5 minutes to go. Mature teams, that doesn't bother them. They just, we're going to go get it. And that's, I think, where this whole group is as well. They've grown up and they're mature, and they look different. Anybody comes out here and watch our practices, it's quite a different looking team than it's been in the last couple of years. But it's their maturity as well that's as impactful as their physical size and strength.
Going back a little bit to where we started in terms of the players getting more comfortable and learning the system. You hear coaches talk about implementing part of the playbook the first year, part of the playbook the second year. With that much size and experience and strength on the offensive line, is this offense now going to be able to do things that you haven't been able to do the first 3 years?
I think it gives you the option to do that if it makes sense when you're playing somebody that you can tweak some things and do some things, or in the middle of games you can do some things. Then they will have the ability to do that. I don't think you do it just to do it. But what you have now is, if you're at that point and you want to do it, you feel comfortable with this group, you can. Whereas in the past, you may have wanted to tweak some things, but you had to hold back because you're not sure that it would confuse them more than help them. So I think they're at the point where they're capable of doing it. If we have to do it, they'll definitely do it.
You've said in an interview a couple months ago, you were saying often in the third year with a quarterback running a system, this offense can go from productive to prolific. Mm-hmm. Do you see the elements in place to make that kind of a jump with this offense this year?
Yeah, I think that's about where they are, and it'll be interesting to see how they play it out. But they certainly have everything is in line, and all the places are in line, and the kids are where they should be. And now it's a matter of just going out and doing it. And they're very good. I'm watching them right now in the last few days and seeing their spring ball and whatnot. They're very good. So that next step is to be seen, but it's all lined up ready for that to take place.